All the major news organizations will have live coverage of the January 6th committee hearing. The one exception, Fox News, which will instead stick to its primetime lineup of hosts who downplayed the assault on the Capitol. Fox says it will cover the event, quote, as news warrants, leaving the live coverage to Fox Business, a sister network, with a much smaller viewership. In a new op-ed in the LA Times, friend of the show Kurt Bardella questions this, calling out Fox News as a, quote, propaganda vehicle for the GOP and looking to other news organizations to confront the lies spread by Republicans. Joining me now is Kurt Bardella. He's an advisor to the DNC and to the DCCC. So what impact will today's media landscape have on the January 6th public hearings? Fox News did not exist during the Watergate hearings.
Yeah, thank God for democracy and the republic that it didn't, Zerlina. I mean, Fox News is making the conscious decision to not cover the biggest story going on in this country today, the biggest story perhaps of the last century in terms of its impact on our ability to be a free country. And any organization that has the word news in its title cannot claim to be that if they're not going to actually cover the news. I mean, why Fox News is allowed to masquerade as some journalism enterprise and get credentialed at the White House and the Capitol to cover things the way that other reputable news organizations get to cover is beyond me, because really they're nothing more than a propaganda mouthpiece for the Republican Party. And they're not even trying to hide it anymore, Zerlina. They're telling everybody what their intentions are. And, it would be as if Al-Qaeda started a media platform after 9/11 and wanted to cover things like a news entity. Like, we would never allow that to happen. Fox News, to me, is no different at this point.
One of the other things I think is significant is that some of their hosts come up in some of the evidence. That is another unprecedented aspect of this whole investigation. In your op-ed, you write, it's not partisan to challenge Republicans on their hypocrisy or to use adjectives like radical, violent, racist to describe Republican leaders. I mean, why do you think it's so important for the media not to shy away from telling the truth? This is very important to me. Clarity is very important to me. Why is it important to you?
Well, when we talk about clarity and precision of language, I mean, at some point, the media has got to move on from this really prehistoric notion that objectivity means not calling things for what they are. When someone says racist things over and over again, they are a racist. When someone time and again lies to the American people, they are a liar. And calling them that doesn't mean you're not being objective. Calling them that doesn't mean you're being unfair or partisan. It actually means the opposite. You're just telling it like it is. And I think that too many in the media shy away from using those adjectives to describe the Republican Party, when in actuality, they put that on display every single day. They are not trying to hide that. And by sanitizing their language and rhetoric and adjectives, they're really playing into the Republican Party's hands. There is no scenario, Zerlina, in which anyone in the Republican Party will ever say, you know what, MSNBC, NBC, the New York Times, you did a good job. You gave us a fair shake. Thank you for your impartiality. They will never do that. So stop worrying about being labeled something. They've already called you the fake news. They've already said that you're the enemy of the people. They've already literally put a bullseye on the back of anybody who plays a role in media. They're gone. That's never going to change. All that's left is to tell the truth. And I'm going to tell you something. If democracy ends up falling one day, it'll fall in part because people in the media didn't have the might, the need, the understanding that this was their time to step up and call things for what they were. If this were going on in any other place in the world, we would be using words like extreme, and no one would bat an eye.
I hear you. I mean, I think they call it the fourth estate, and it'd be important in this moment for us to internalize that and to act accordingly. In a lot of ways, I feel like this is an unprecedented moment because we had 2 impeachment Senate trials, but the audience for those trials, yeah, they were the American people, but it was really the senators who we sort of knew what the outcome was going to be. This is unprecedented. This is a panel of Congress people who are all on the same page. They're all going to be telling the same story. Who is the audience? Who do they need to break through to? They're not going to convince the hardcore Tucker Carlson viewer, but who are they speaking to?
I think that they're speaking to people who may believe that January 6th was the end game, really, that this was a culmination of something, and since then things have subsided. Things have calmed down. We don't have to worry about this anymore. When in actuality, what the committee will present over the course of these 6 and 7 hearings is articulating and demonstrating that the threat is still very real right now. There is a substantial reason why we need to care about what happened, because the same forces that worked for months to coordinate what ended up happening on January 6th are still in action today. They are organizing, they are mobilizing, they are looking to finish the job that they didn't finish on January 6th, and they're looking to finish it in 2022. They're looking to finish it in 2024. This stuff very much matters, and one of the things that's most important about what we're going to see, and you just alluded to it, it is going to be a united front. Usually in congressional hearings, and we've seen this during impeachment, during confirmation hearings, Republicans love to grandstand. They love to try to hijack the agenda, hijack the message, mislead, misdirect. Well, guess what? Kevin McCarthy made the decision to pull his members from this committee. Well, that means they won't be there to do the shenanigans that we usually see. That means we'll have a united front on that dais. We'll get a complete picture, a complete story without all the gamesmanship. And I think that Republicans like McCarthy are going to be very, very regretful of their decision to pull away from this committee when they watch what happens tonight.
I remember when they were like, I don't think that we're going to let Jim Jordan be on this committee. And then he turned up in the text messages and it all started to make a little bit more sense. It's a really good point about who is going to be on the dais. Kurt Bardella, thank you so much for joining today. Please stay safe. Hi, I'm Zerlina Maxwell. Thanks for checking out our channel on YouTube. You can see more from Zerlina by clicking any of the videos on this screen, and make sure you subscribe below to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. Thanks for watching.